Greetings from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I'm on my way to an IT peer group meetings, actually occurring down in Nashville. And the airline we booked our flights with stopped servicing my location to head down there. And by the time they canceled and we looked at flights elsewhere, long story short, it was easier to drive. And hey, I don't mind driving. And yesterday, on my 15 and a half hour journey, stage one, had lots of time to think. Now, luckily, I really like to drive, but it did get me thinking a lot in regards to different things, like Suncor, the parent company of Petro-Canada. They're now in the deep of having to notify their clients of the rewards program that their names and addresses, birthdays, all that information been stolen by the hackers that took down their systems a short while ago. So that's going to be an interesting endeavor for them. And for those of us that happen to have Petro Points rewards cards, make sure to be watching your information so that people aren't opening up new accounts in your name. Also on my drive, it takes a lot of concentration to be on highways and driving for 15 and a half hours. It's a long day. And going over in my mind, cybersecurity, because driving that long and that level of concentration and having to stay focused, again, there's probably lots of people out there that can do it. Many others that I've talked to, they're like, hey, 3-4 hours, that's kind of my limit, Scott. And then I start getting a little bit fuzzy. Well, think about your devices, especially at your office. They tend to be always on, always connected, always on the internet, which means you've got to always be vigilant about those inbound emails. Make sure that your staff have been trained and they know what to be watching for, to make sure your security is up to date and online and watching for problems. Because it's not 15 and a half hours that you got to focus on. No. Those devices are on all the time, connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for many people and many organizations, which means you have got to always be on guard. How do you do that as a human? The capacity, the brain power, how can you stay focused all the time? You can't. It's not possible. It's the same as at one time, we used to install antivirus software and call it a day. Set it and forget it. We're secure. It's not like that anymore because our devices are always connected and always online, and so are the bad guys. So what do? Well, you have to have multi-layer defenses. So when I was driving, I had my wing person, Wendy, my wife, who was driving with me. I also, we decided because I'm going to a conference that we kind of make a little holiday for someone in our family. Yeah, he doesn't know it. He's now on video, but that's our grandson, and he's along for the trip. Say he's been out of the house and been staying in some hotel rooms, and we'll do some fun stuff with him too. So I had some, not going to say distractions, but things that could keep my energy levels up. Radio, had the radio on, had that pumping. Junk food, driving. There's things you can do to always stay on guard. Well, in the IT world, having the right partners, having security operations centers that are staffed by teams that are on 24/7 watching for alerts and looking for things. This is where we're at nowadays. So if you don't have a security operations center, my industry likes to call it a SOC. We actually have 2 SOCs that we work with our partners, one for our advanced endpoint protection and one for breach detection. Because, hey, any solution could have a failure. I mean, nothing's 100%. So if something slips by that first layer of protection, what do you got in place to detect something's gone wrong? Remember, if you've been following me at all, we want to try to protect, keep bad things out, but we need to be able to detect when something's gone wrong or something's not looking right so that we can respond quickly to minimize the impact. That's the goal of security nowadays. So these are the musings of someone that spent 15 and a half hours on the road yesterday, recouping our next long drive in a couple of days, for stage 2, heading from Hamilton, Ontario, down to Nashville for our conferences next week. With that, I'm going to wrap up and say, hey, you can't possibly be on guard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So what are you going to do to try to fix that problem or to fill that gap so that you can make sure that your company, your data, your clients, your family are all protected against the badness that is out there on the internet that we're all connected to?